as well, I think, is like not only what opportunities are there, but what good can come from it as well. Because I think there's so much negativity going on at the moment. People need a glimmer of hope in terms of, what they can potentially, how blockchain is going to help people in general. I think is going to give people insight.
So. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people that have got fear over technology, and a lot of people that have got a non-beneficial perspective on money. So you group the two together, and you've basically got -1, -1, or +1. So okay, well, we'll come on to that. So I'm going to ask a really open, easy question then for Alan first. You were on first. Alan, if you could have one thing answered, what would it be?
In life or about crypto?
Well, for now, just for this call, we'll stick with blockchain-y, crypto-y, finance-y related box-ish. What are the top 3? What are the things that are the most? What are the things you actually want to understand a bit?
Okay. First of all, how does one make a decent investment, as in a wise investment? I think that's the word I'm looking for. How does one make a wise investment in it? And also, I don't understand how it works, because I see people saying you can pay me in Bitcoin, or you can do this or that in Bitcoin. I have no idea how that works. So really, it's how does one make a wise investment in terms of the chances of getting a return, because people describe that as a possibility. And secondly, how does one use it on a practical level, practical basis, as a substitute for the money that we're familiar with?
Okay, fair enough. I got those questions. Freddie, your turn.
Yes, okay. I am not a young person. I am in my 60s, nearly 70. So I live on pension, not just one. And I am just about comfortable. If they do something drastic to people's pensions, I will be in the shit. So I want to know, how will it benefit me? Will it benefit me to invest in blockchain? And if so, how do I do it? And what happens after I've bought some? Don't understand how it works.
That's okay. So, all right, cool. Nice questions. So I'm going to just begin with how it works, and I'm not going to answer it, because I'm going to say this. There are many things you all use right now and you have no idea how they work, but you like what they do. TVs, mobile phones, radios, laptops, internet. Pretty much I'd say there's more stuff we use every day that we don't know how it actually does it than we do. Yeah. But I don't know how the toaster works, let's say, but I know when I put bread in, I get toast out. And I know if I turn the dial, I get darker toast. That's actually all I need to know. So we could spend ages understanding how blockchain works.
No, you're right. Don't need it.
But we don't need it. Well, not on this call. And there's other call. The first one, there's tons of really good videos out there that summarize it really well. And the first call we did, we really went into like, what is a blockchain? Yeah. All I will say, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. That's all I'm going to say to that, how it works. Yeah. What I will lead on to from this one though is, okay, well, I don't need to know how it actually works, but how could I use it? Which was Alan's question. Yeah. So I don't know how money moves around the world, but I know if I have a card, I can buy something. Yeah. Think of it like this. Blockchain is a technology. Crypto is one use of that technology. I'll give you another example. Sorry, my mind's gone blank. I'll give you another example, which is a knife. A knife is a technology. How I use that knife, kitchen, war, butchering, axe, yeah, is an application of that technology. So crypto is just So blockchain is a piece of technology that allows for transparency. It's very fast. It's highly efficient. It's transparent. There's lots of benefits for this technology. And at the same time, someone has applied that technology in finance, and we call that crypto. Just like we call money fiat money, as an example, or gold. You could say that gold is a technology because it's a metal, but gold, if it's in a coin and we assign a value to it, now it's an application of that. Okay, so how do you use it? Exactly the same you would use your card. So right now, somewhere, you have a bank account. And in that bank account, it has some numbers. Let's say it has 1,000. At the end of that 1,000, or at the beginning, it has a pound sign. If that pound sign was a dollar sign, it would have a different value to it. It would still say 1,000, but if Freddie has $1,000 and Alan has 1,000 yen, Chinese yen, and you each draw out 1,000 yen, who can buy more bread, Freddie or Alan? Okay, bad example.
What it's worth, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well, the Chinese yen, you're talking, they work in millions. So 1,000
exactly.
yen, 1,000 yen is like, I don't know, 10 quid or something. So if Freddie draws out £1,000 and Alan draws out 1,000 yen, even though they're both 1,000, they've got different values. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly the same in crypto. I have 1,000 of this coin and I have 1,000 of that coin. If I go somewhere and I spend them, they're worth different values. It's no different. So instead of Chinese yen, British pound, American dollar, instead we have things like Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. Yeah? Just think of them like currencies. Forget what they do for now, because we're only talking about the application of value, money. Because they can do lots of things. Yeah? So if I was holding a gold coin right now worth £1,000, it's worth £1,000. Someone else could say, well, that's actually also used in audio equipment for good quality connections. It is. It's got lots of applications, but right now we're only talking about it from a money perspective. Have I got you so far?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So spending crypto is no different to spending pounds. You have an account somewhere. Forget where. Instead of bank accounts, just call them crypto accounts. It's easier. Yeah. You've got a crypto account somewhere. It's holding your money just like a bank account, and it can probably hold multiple currencies. Yeah. And then it has a card attached to it. And then there, depending on where you do it, there are people that actually take Bitcoin or Ethereum as an example. But the new cards now, I don't know if you're aware of this, Richard. Coinbase brought out a card. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of Coinbase. I thought Binance, and they brought their own credit card out. Yeah.
Binance haven't brought a card out in the UK, have they?
I thought they've brought a credit card out. Binance. Yeah.
Well, I've just ordered a Coinbase card. So basically, there are, let's just call it, instead of bank accounts, they call them wallets. You may have heard people talking about crypto wallets. Yeah. So wallets is the word that they would use. So someone says, hey, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to offer people crypto wallets. Coinbase is one example. And so you keep your coins on Coinbase, just like you keep your money in a bank account, and then you can order a card. And then the way it works is it's like a MasterCard or a Visa card. And then you spend money. So let's say I go to a shop, I buy a loaf of bread, it's £1. And then my phone will say, what do you want to use to pay for that? So let's just say I'm only holding Bitcoin. Yeah. It probably wouldn't ask me. And I'd say every time I spend money, take it out of my Bitcoin. And it would just do a conversion in that moment. So if today, let's just say the loaf of bread is £1, and let's just say that your Bitcoin is worth, that one Bitcoin is worth £1, then you'll buy the bread and you'll have one less Bitcoin in your account. Forget the numbers, just understand the context and the logic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like right now, if I go to, I've got a British account. If I go to Germany and I spend 10 euros, 10 euros won't come out my account. Probably £8.70 will come out my account, because my bank account will have converted 10 euros into pounds, because my bank account is in pounds, not euros. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
100% sense?
99.
Okay, that's cool. But you can understand using your card in
Yes,
another country. Yeah?
yes.
No different. It's no different whatsoever. Somebody offers you a bank account that's crypto. They give you a card. You go spend it.
Yep.
That's it. Now, the big difference is, over the course of a year, bread, the price of bread, probably won't change. Over the course of a year, the £1,000 in your bank account will still get you the same amount of bread in January as it will in December. Make sense?
Yep.
If you have a crypto account, over the course of a year, well, over the course of a week, you may be able to buy vast differently amounts of bread, because it can go up and it can go down at levels that would make most people shit their pants. Oh, did you speak?
Why?
Why? Because it is...
Simply.
Pardon?
Simply why?
Simply. Okay, and I'll try to. Well, okay, I'll give you 3 answers to it. The first one is because it's brand new technology that people are still, that isn't mass adopted. And people are not using it as a currency at the minute. They're using it as value, like gold. And the price fluctuates according to the general collective conscious of what people think. So if everyone suddenly thinks, did you ever hear about I only found this out last year, the tulip wars? Am I saying this right? Richard, you're nodding. Like, there's something about the price of Dutch tulips was worth thousands. Is that right?
It was the first kind of like trade price war and all that kind of stuff, because of the first kind of a proper sort of cross-border trade
And so
issue, wasn't it? Yeah.
They basically, like, we're just talking about tulips. The price of tulips went up and up and up to levels that you would just be crazy. Yeah, it's just a flower, but it's not just a flower, because you know when they say, "Oh, I'll sell you my iPad." Richard, do you want to buy? Sorry, Alan, do you want to buy my second generation iPad for £4,000?
Bit much, that.
Yeah, it's a bit much, but to me, it's worth £4,000. People always say, no, it's worth what people will pay for it. Yeah. So if these were all £4,000, and then tomorrow Apple brings out a better version of one of these for 500 quid, do you think people are going to still buy this for 400 quid?
No, of course not.
No. So with the tulip wars, everything went up, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but
It was a shortage, wasn't it, or something like that? It was like they had some
well, that would have made it go up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that increased the price. Yeah.
And so
we've had that happening throughout history with things like commodities, tea,
yes,
cloth,
yes,
silk.
So this is perfect. This is no different.
Right.
The difference why it goes up so much compared to pounds and dollars and stuff is because the finance market, first of all, it's massive. So to make a big fluctuation in the financial exchange market, it is a big deal. The crypto market, the crypto, you know, when they talk about how far away the sun is, if the Earth was on like a pinhead, the sun would be like, you know, when you shrink something down to understand the vastness of something. The crypto market, if the crypto market was like a pin in terms of how much money it's worth, which is 180 billion with a B, the financial exchange market is like, probably like a ball. So if someone throws a pebble in a lake this big, you're not going to see it. If someone throws a pebble in this tiny little dot of a lake, the ripples are going to be massive. So you can fluctuate the market massively. Plus, you do have some people who own a lot of particular coins, and we call them whales. And if a whale jumps in the pool, it's a big splash. So if someone owns, like that, you know, there's a lot of manipulation controls. For example, in Bitcoin, if someone owns 500,000 Bitcoins and suddenly decides to sell them, the market will start to drop. If someone goes into the market and suddenly buys half the supply of all the Bitcoins available, the price will suddenly rise. Same as any commodity. So the price rises and falls because it's not currently a currency, but it has a value, just like anything. There are people who are in it for their own gain and will happily just move the market around. It's unregulated, and it's brand new, which means it's, if you think of it from like spring, summer, autumn, winter, it's still hugely in spring. We are, in my opinion, we are nowhere near summer. Well, I think we're approaching this year the end of spring, and summer is going to be a blossom. Yeah. So in spring, think about the energy that it's got. So the whole crypto, like I follow the news every day. Every single day, and I mean this, every single day, there's that much news that's that crazy, that bonkers, it's moving that fast, because the industry itself, blockchain, is a fast industry. Look at the world of accounting. If I follow the accounting news every day, I'm going to guess that every single day is not massive wows. Yeah, but I'll tell you now, in the crypto world, every single day,
It's wow.
All sorts happens. And I don't just mean like the price goes up and down, loads of other stuff. There's new everything, because it's in spring energy. There's companies starting, there's companies failing. So we'll leave it at that. That was to answer. I explained about the cards and how you buy stuff. And I said, but over the course of a few weeks, a month, or a year, the price will change massively. And that was my answer to why the price might change massively. How am I doing keeping you both here? Are you good?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, cool. Okay. And I'm not being facetious though, because I can use really complex language, and I'm trying to make sure I'm enjoying trying to explain it so that it's really understood. Okay, so let's move on. So how does it work? We're kind of not covering, we've done a little bit. How does one use it on a practical basis, just like anything else, but be aware the price will change? So then let's cover, as a pensioner, how does it benefit me?
Can I just go back?
Yes.
You know, you were talking about buying a loaf of bread and how that's probably not going to change very much in quite a long time. Although I envisage the price of food is going to rise because we're going into a recession with ordinary money now. I'm a bit hung up on, well, I can't go into a shop and buy a loaf of bread with my Bitcoin card.
Yes, you can. So, it's not a Bitcoin card. It's a normal MasterCard. It's a normal card. Think about it like this, Freddie. Have you ever left the country?
Yeah.
Freddie, have you ever left the country?
Yes, sorry.
Where was the last country you went to?
The States.
You were at USA, yeah? When you were in the USA, did you use, who do you bank with?
Barclays.
Did you use your Barclays bank whilst you were in the States?
Yes.
Well, how did that work? You don't have any US dollars in it.
I changed my cash. No, I went to a machine in the airport and told it to give me dollars out of my pound account in Barclays.
But you weren't holding any dollars, were you? In your account?
No, it had to change the money into dollars.
Exactly the same. So in your account, you hold Bitcoin. As an example, you go somewhere and you spend it, and the machine will say, I'm going to need to do a conversion. And there is today, right now, there is a rate. Are you happy with this conversion? So when you went to the bank, when you went to the ATM, you'd have put your card in, you'd have done all the stuff, checking account, whatever it is, and then you'd have said, I want $1,000. And the ATM will have probably said, I'll give you $1,000 and this is the exchange rate. Or do you want your bank to do the exchange rate? And you probably said bank. It doesn't matter what you said, but someone did an exchange between pounds and dollars. Well, it's exactly the same with this. Instead of it holding pounds, it holds Bitcoin. You go to America, you buy something, and it says, I need to convert whatever currency is on your card into whatever you're spending. And you will agree the rate. It's no different.
Right. Okay. And I think I'm with that.
Just like if you went to any country, you use your card, there's an exchange rate. So right now, so let's see. Right now, I can tell you this. The price of one Bitcoin is $7,249. Now, the Bitcoin can be broken down into infinitesimal tiny pieces. So you might pay with 0.0000001 Bitcoin, which is called a Satoshi. Just like you have a pound and you have pence.
Right.
For short, they call it SATs, S-A-T-S. How many decimal place? Pop question. Richard, how many decimal places Bitcoin?
How many decimal places?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, no.
I don't know either. 8. So, however many that is, 8 would be what? 80. So 99,999,999 sats. If you have one more sat, you get a Bitcoin. Because it has 8 decimal places. So the price today is that. So if you came to my bank, if you came to me and said, Daniel, I've got some Bitcoin, I want some cash, and let's just say I had a lot of cash lying around, I'd say, cool, I'll give you some Bitcoin, and it's currently, right now, today, it's worth 7,251. You're like, cool, you happy with that? Yeah, cool, give me a Bitcoin. There you go, I'll give you the cash.
And what would that have been worth, like when Bitcoin was launched? What was it worth at launch?
Cents. Yeah.
Cents? Like a penny, 2 pence, 10 pence?
Seriously, Ian?
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's
When
insane.
was it launched?
2020. No, it wasn't 2012. It was the day after.
2009.
Day after the financial crash.
So are we
8.
too late?
8. That was 28.
Hang on, too many questions here. It was the day after the financial crash because there's a lot of question marks over the timeliness of the launch. Richard, what were you going to say?
It was 2008, 2009, yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it was August 12th. The crash, the official crash happened on the 11th, and it might not be August, but August is in my brain. And Bitcoin, the whole thing kind of got released in 2008, on the 12th. Richard Allen says, are we not too late? Is that what you said?
Yeah, because it seems obviously to have ballooned so incredibly from that seed.
So I'm going to leave the which one do you invest in to the last question. I'm just going to double check one thing, because the last 2 questions I've got is, as a pensioner, how will it benefit me, and how do you make a wise investment? Before I do the investment side, I want to check with Freddie, as a pensioner, how will it benefit me? Do you mean financially, or do you mean in life?
Financially.
Okay, so it's the same question in a way as Alan's.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll come on to the question. So before we start talking about other coins, my opinion is that we are really early to the game. So I'm not pro Bitcoin, but I'm just going to put that aside for now and just talk in general. So have you missed the bubble? First of all, Bitcoin was worth 20,000 a couple of years
ago. Yeah.
A couple of years ago. It's crashed. It's gone up. There have been multiple times where everybody has said, "I'm too late." Yeah. Even a couple of months ago, Bitcoin was worth $9,000, and then about 4 weeks ago, the whole market lost anywhere between 40 and 70% of its value, and Bitcoin went down to 3,400. 3,400. It was worth 10 grand a couple of weeks before that. Yeah. So I'm just giving you that an idea. Now that's not normal. That was a flash crash. It caused a lot of shit. And, but that's the volatility in it. Remember that just like a house, when someone says, "Oh, my house is in negative equity, it's worth less than my mortgage." If you're not selling it, you haven't lost anything. So always remember that. This is why it's not currency. You can spend it,
Right.
but to move all your money into it as a currency, you could find out tomorrow you've got no money. So, so Bitcoin's risen, it's fallen. The general consensus of the market, the general mass market, is that Bitcoin will reach anywhere from 100,000 per coin to, I've seen, pick a number above that. I've seen anywhere up to like millions for one coin. Their argument for that, and first of all, if that was to happen, you definitely wouldn't consider 7,000 as missing out. Yeah. Their argument is because it's the only coin that no one owns. It's got a finite supply. There's rhyme and reason for what they're saying. And there's a lot of people for years that have said Bitcoin will be a store of value, like a digital version of gold. It will always be there and always have this value. And there's logic behind that. However, it's really important to understand, and most people, and you guys fall into this as well, because most people just talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first use of blockchain. Remember I said that a knife is a knife, and the first person that made a knife probably made a knife to kill an animal, probably, or to do something with eating. But now we use knives for whittling wood and all sorts of stuff. So Bitcoin as a technology is very old and very slow. It's a bit like tapes. Yeah. And no, let's just say records, and forget that records sound nicer. Yeah. Records were the first, correct me if I'm wrong, recorded music. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine people went crazy for records. Yeah. Now imagine everyone starts jumping on the record bandwagon, and then someone comes along and says, "I've made this thing called a tape." Ignore for a minute that they require different devices. Just imagine if a record player could play a tape. Yeah. How quickly do you think people would adopt tapes over records? Very fast, because a record can hold on one side maybe like 5 songs. I don't know. It can't hold as many songs as a tape. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get a whole LP on one side of the tape.
Yeah, so a tape can hold, let's just say a tape can hold double. Yeah. But then imagine next year someone comes out with a CD. And let's just imagine that the same device can play the CD. Yeah. How quickly would people adopt the CD? Now also on the CD, we can put data. So if you think of it like a record, all you can put on a record is music. All you can put on the, well, you can put data on the tape, but all people were putting on tapes was music. Then a CD comes out and I say, "Hey, you can put music on here and you can put photos." People would be like, "What? You can put photos on this as well?" "Yeah, and you can put files and you can type things and put," "Really? So I don't have to use whatever we were using. I can put them all on the CD." "Yeah, you can put them all on the CD." That is different applications of blockchain. So Bitcoin came around and was just used for moving money. All the new blockchain, all the new technology uses of blockchain, like XRP, like Ethereum, are applications of blockchain, but they allow for more things to happen than just moving money. And so I'll give you one example just so you can get an idea of that. To buy a house right now, I need a solicitor. And the reason I need a solicitor is because I need someone legal to create a contract between me and Richard, because I don't trust Richard and he doesn't trust me. So if you know, how do I know if I give him my money, how do I know I'll get the house? Because we've got to tell the land registry, and we need a lot of checks doing and all sorts of stuff. And the whole thing takes at least 6 weeks. Yeah. If the house details, the legal ownership of the house is on the blockchain, which it is in Dubai, I can open up my phone, Richard can open up his phone. We can create what's called a smart contract. I'll pay you 10 grand for your house. Richard says, I'll sell you my house. We both approve it. And at that moment, because we've approved it, the whole transaction happens in about 2 or 3 minutes. He gets his money. I can't stop it. He doesn't have to even trust me. If he sees the deal and we both agree the same contract, it just happens. It takes the money out of my account. He goes and gets his house. It takes it off. It changes the name of the ownership on the blockchain onto me. There's a full transaction. It's fully transparent. And I just bought his house in less than a few minutes. Done. So that's, forgetting the fact that money was involved. There could be no money. Richard could just say, I'll give you my house. We make a contract. We put the terms in there. I'm going to give you my house. Done. So in that moment, we moved value from one person to another without a middleman, without a third party, like that.
No wonder the world's just going to completely change.
I can imagine this is pretty bonkers for you, Freddie.
It blows my head.
Yeah. But this is no different to trying to explain the internet to
How
you.
do I go and lie by a loaf of bread?
It'll get even bonker when you start realizing that you can buy bread with one piece of brick from your house.
Yes.
Yeah, because your whole house suddenly becomes value. You don't have to sell your house to get money. I can go and buy something and just sell a little bit of my house. But let's not go there.
No.
I want to go back to, there's more than Bitcoin. Because the other side where people look at is that, and this is the side I'm on now. First of all, to mine Bitcoin, because it's a very clunky old technology, even though it's relatively new, uses a lot of energy, a lot of energy compared to all the other coins out there. So there is an argument that would say, everyone's driving petrol cars. Let's just say I've got my petrol car, or it's picking up, more and more people are getting them. And then suddenly someone comes out and says, hey, we've got these electric clean cars and they're made out of thin air. Yeah. Nothing was required to even build them. Then everyone really would start, well, in my world, you'd start using the electric cars because for me, I never thought about the amount of energy that Bitcoin used, and it is a value in my world. So someone else, they're not bothered. Someone else can go and invest in oil and in diamond mines and in mining gold. And they're not bothered even looking at it. But for me, I'd at least have to have a look. And so there's so many coins. I don't like Bitcoin anymore because it does take a lot of energy. And we're talking like all the other coins are like this, Bitcoin's like this. I mean, it's significantly higher. The other side of it is I have this niggling worry about that even with all the multiple timelines and all of this, everything from QAnon to everything that's going on, there's just this part of me that doesn't believe that Bitcoin will be here in its current guise in a few years. I do think it's going to go up. I do think it's going to go up, but I don't want to go on that ride. So because I don't want to go on that ride, I don't invest in it.
So hang on. So isn't it like the analogy you made with the records and the CDs and the tapes? Because I've got records, but they're useless. I haven't even got a record player anymore. And I've got tapes and they're useless. And I've got CDs and yeah, I can still play them, but there are better ways to listen to music now. So
what you're saying is you're going to get rid of these
obvious that there's something better coming.
Say that last question again.
So what I said was, I think it's sort of obvious that something better will come along, and it will happen faster than ever, because that's what's happening in the world now. Things are changing faster and faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
Because when I look at my lifetime, were the record, yeah, there were just records. 52, I was born, and look how fast it's changed in 68 years.
The speed of change is not just speeding up, but the technology itself, the thing we're talking about, blockchain, by nature, is fast. So not only are things speeding up because of the whole world and everything, but this particular sphere is exponentially fast because it's fast. Like it's just the way it is. So things will evolve and things will move, and that's why it's really important that whenever people come into the sphere is to understand that Bitcoin is not the conversation. The conversation is having at least a little bit of an understanding about the vastness that blockchain will absolutely change the whole world more than the internet did.
Yes, I get that.
You think about how, like, I still sometimes think, you know, you're in anywhere, you're like, oh, I'll just check it out and you have a look. And I still remember having to meet everyone at 12 o'clock at McDonald's in town. And if you weren't there, you missed everyone. Oh, well, Alexander probably doesn't remember that because he's like 20. And I still look at that and I just think, wow, like we just have everything here. And to try and explain the internet to my great granddad would blow his mind. And I can only imagine that what we'll have in 10 years, we will look back and we'll be like, wow, we had to actually send, like right now, for example, it's quicker to get on a plane and fly to Germany, not Germany, it's in the EU, but to fly to Australia and give someone money than it is to send them an international payment. Get your head around that. So we have as much, that's why they call this the Internet of Information is right here. And we're moving into what everyone calls the Internet of Value, which is instead of the movement of information being fluid, we're going to have the movement of value, whatever that means, houses, money, car, whatever. We're going to move value over really quick. Just want to say hi to Alexander as well. Sorry, I didn't say hi when you came in. So how will it benefit me? How will it benefit me? What investments to make? So first of all, it's to understand that Bitcoin is just the first coin. And the key word that everyone always talks about is utility, which basically means how do you use it? So Bitcoin's only really got primarily one use case, one way you use it, and that is as a store of value. I can take my 10 grand, convert it into Bitcoin or convert it into gold or whatever. It holds that value and you hope over time it appreciates. So that's the only way that people have used it as a store of value. When you start looking at, like, for example, coins 2 and coins 3, meaning the second coin after the first coin after Bitcoin, coin number 2, and coin number 3, which is XRP, these have got actual use cases and are being used today by big institutions because the adoption of Bitcoin by the big players has not been very big. And this is what makes me kind of think, it's slow, it's clunky, it's not controlled by anyone, which scares a lot of people. It's heavily manipulated because there are some bank accounts and wallets which hold a lot. So they can go into the market, do something, and that market will respond quickly. So because of that, I think the big institutions will always have fear over it. If the public and the retail investors and other people that invested it, if they still buy and sell it, yes, it could hold its value and it could go up and up and up. But there's just something in me that thinks, you know what, I don't want to be too heavily invested in it because I prefer the other coins. And I think the other coins over the course of the next 10 years will stand the test of time. Big players are behind them. They're using them for contracts. They're using them for playing games on them. Ethereum and XRP are used a lot, and there's other coins as well. There's 3,400 different coins. However, honestly, you don't even need to know about, especially for you two, you don't need to know about anything more than, I'd say, a handful of coins, because there's a lot of speculation. It's a speculative market. So when to answer Alan's question, like how do you make a wise investment? Your options are do a lot of research, or pick some people, places, information to trust, and go off that.
That's why we're here, because we trust you.
I'm one person. However, I take solace, and I hope you can take solace that, like, well, Richard would challenge me, and me and Richard hold similar views, which you could say is generically similar views from what I'd say we've talked about anyway. However, it's really important to not be an echo chamber. Like last night, I started following everyone that thinks XRP is stupid, and I followed everyone that thinks basically the opposite of all of these views that I've got, because I wanted to just understand what are the other views out there, to just prod and poke my stance. I've done so much research in XRP. I think I will be really shocked, whether I'm invested or not is irrelevant. I'll be really shocked if XRP is not used at a global scale. I can't see how that would happen. The only way is if it's a complete lie, or it's linked to the negative New World Order, and that's all going to collapse down. And I don't know, but I really can't see how it's not. So for me, I do hold some Bitcoin, like a tiny bit. I've kept a tiny little bit, because if it does go to 1 million, well, then I'll be happy. I'll get a few 100,000 from that. And now, as far as the whole market goes, we're at the bottom, or we're at the very lower end. It could go lower, but it's looking like everything's going to rise. We're at the bottom of the market, so pretty much any coin you buy now, in the next week, you're buying it at a good price, even if it is Bitcoin. But if I had one piece of advice, I would definitely say, like, hedge your bets. If you're going to put some money into crypto, first of all, be willing to lose it, but you never really lose it until you take your money out. Yeah. So put some money in, keep 20% aside, because if the market drops further, then you can buy it cheaper. And buy, like I always recommend people, like 3 or 4 coins. Like, try not to buy more than 5. Spend 80% of your money on like coins that have got good, tangible benefits. And I always say, I'm not a gambler, but I enjoy the coins that are really, really cheap, that have got good stories behind them and look like they're going to get used and they're being bought up by the right people, that maybe in 2-3 years could be worth a lot. I like those as well, but they are gambles. That's what I mean when I say I like a gamble. In the crypto world, I like, you know what? It's an educated punt. Put it that way. And I can give you, for ease, I'll just give you a list of the coins that, in fact, we really love it. Richard, do you own different coins? Are you mainly just XRP?
Yeah, I've got a few different ones. Yeah, I've got a few different ones, but I haven't gone quite crazy on them. One thing I would say, I think I'll try and find it. There is an exchange, I think, that kind of they kind of like do packages of like the top 5 coins, and there's probably about 5 different ones. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a meal deal. Do you know what I mean? It's like 4 or 5 different ones. You just buy certain things, and it's just like the top, so you don't have to dig into it, but it's quite a good way to get started, because then you'll look up and you'll do your research on those individual coins. So yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I'll try and find out and put it in the chat.
So like, and if you're happy to, you just share. You don't have to put your amounts, but if you could put like rough percentages, so that just to see leverage, if you're comfortable with it. Like I share with people generally how mine is split. just so that people can get an idea. I like to be quite transparent like that. And you're just hedging your bets. You know what I mean? There's honestly, like, I think that in terms of use case, Ethereum and XRP are the biggest and the most used at the minute.
I'd say, like you say, you're in danger of being your own echo chamber sometimes, but the one I've done the most research on is XRP, so that's my biggest holding by far. And then once you kind of learn about that, then you hear people talking about other coins, whether that's XLM or whatever they are. So then you jump onto those, and then you'll if you feel comfortable, you'll buy those as well, or you'll sell some of the ones off, whatever. But you just got to start somewhere, and I think otherwise it can be too overwhelming, and you think that you're making the wrong choice. This is the perfect forum to just kind of go, understand one thing, decide whether you want to go with that, make a commitment to it, and then just keep digging into it. Put some time. If you're serious about it, it's worthwhile investment of your time every single day to at least follow some people on Twitter, keep having these conversations, keep watching certain YouTube channels so you can absorb more, because you can go down a rabbit hole, but it can widen your perspective on things as well. So you just got to pick one thing, follow it, and then other things will open up. That's the thing, because it can be just you can lose yourself in this, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
And then because it's going to be the future, yeah. So one of the reasons I started delving into it, because I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to wake up and everyone's going to be talking blockchain, and I'm still not going to understand what it is. And I knew that day would come, because that day always comes in everything, and you don't even see it happening. And so that was one of the reasons why I thought I'm going to start looking into it. And the more you look into it, well, I think it's pretty cool, and I do think it's really cool, like especially because we can see it happening. We didn't really see the internet coming, because prior to the internet, we had no way to send information. Now we can send information like that. We're able to watch real time new technology happening, whereas before it would have been, well, books and newspapers, so it was slow to get the information out. So it's really interesting to actually watch this whole sphere unpack and open with curiosity, not with fear, with going, do you know what? It is coming. We don't like the world we're in. Well, it's not we don't like the world we're in, but the world we're in isn't working. Something's got to give and to change. And I think blockchain, like any technology, can really help to reduce some of the friction around the world that we have in a lot of areas, and can really help in a lot of spaces. And like Richard said, pick a coin. You can do something called dollar cost averaging. So every week, say you're on the pension, Freddie, could you spare, I don't know, £3 a week, £4 a week?
Yeah.
So every week, you spend £4. That's it. Just spend £4, buy some more, whatever coin you want. And then you might go next week, you might spend £3 on that coin, and you might spend £1 on that coin. And you're just trickling in. You're not even noticing it. Yeah. And if the price goes up, the price goes up. If the price goes down, the price goes down. Because
right, so it's slowly amounting up my little wallet.
Yeah, you're just slowly adding to it. Nothing fancy, and because I do believe the whole market in the next 5 years will be much higher. I'm not even going to put a number on it, but I do believe.
Will be what? What was the word you used?
I do believe in the next 5 years the whole market will be much higher.
Oh, much higher.
Yeah, much higher.
Is this, in your opinion, is this similar to my parents bought their house in 1976? So anyone who bought a house at that time, the house price has risen exponentially. Are you seeing it almost in those terms?
Yes, probably more exponentially. I mean, house prices went up a lot, but I think people are going to. I think people will look back at this time and be like, wow, just wow. Like, can you believe that was that? In the same way we look back at Bitcoin and go, wow, it was 10 cents, but this will be everything. And there's just like what Richard was alluding to at the minute, the stuff he wanted to talk about with this, the whole world and the finance, like it's, and probably a nice segue to come on to that, because you look at America, who are just printing money. Yeah, they're printing money. They went from 800 billion deficit debt to 11 trillion. And to give an idea, a million seconds, a million is 12 seconds. A million seconds is 12 minutes ago or something. A billion seconds is about 3,000 years. A trillion seconds is 31,000 years ago. The difference between a billion and a trillion is massive. So they went from 800 billion to 11 trillion in the last 10 years. They're printing loads of money now. The Fed's nearly bankrupt. Well, the Fed apparently is bankrupt. And it's my belief, and I'm going to guess some of the conversation that Richard was alluding to, that we're going to switch onto a currency or something that has immediate value and will clear that debt down, or just cut it and it'll be gone because it's a private company anyway, it'll bankrupt itself. And that's going to happen. Like, I mean, the digital dollar, which is the America's answer to a digitized version of their dollar, like literally is about to go live today or tomorrow. Have you seen the news about, have you seen the Ripple with the bank, JP Morgan? Yeah. So the, like potentially using XRP, and it's interesting that they put that word in there, Ripple. Ripple's the company that owns XRP. But we're about to make a massive financial shift, huge financial shift. And I do think it's going to go back to gold. It makes perfect sense that it'll go back to gold, and that whatever the currency is that we use will be backed by gold. We have to move to some stable currency. There's been 7 fiat systems in the past. All of them have failed. And this fiat system that we're in is like 20 years overdue failing. This is the longest time history's ever had a fiat system. So everything that's going on in the world, and there's a lot of narratives crossing between each other, and they have varying levels of tinfoil hats to wear depending on when you look at them. And they are worth looking at, all of them. All of them are worth looking at. And regardless of which one's free, the whole financial system around the world is about to shift. I don't come at it from a scary perspective. It's cool, and I do think it's really, really good, but it is going to shift, and we will witness the largest transfer in wealth that we've ever seen. And I do believe that somewhere in that, cryptocurrency will play a substantial role in that transference of wealth. I really don't want to blow your heads off here, though, guys. Like,
yeah, that's a rabbit hole and a half. That whole one, you know, it's not for this conversation, is it?
No, I know. I was trying to find a way to end that little bit, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have fucking started it, should I?
No, because it is so overwhelming what's coming, I think, and I think all you need to know is that, like Daniel said, the current fiat system's coming to an end. Basically, yeah. They cannot come back from the amount of money that they're printing, so it's got to fold. And it's got to fold in some way where there is a store of value. And crypto is the only place in gold, but even that's, you know, it depends on you. Depends
Can
what.
I just say something? When we were talking about that analogy between how technologies have changed, records, tapes, CDs, now on the internet, people are still using records. People are still using tape.
But they're using them for not nostalgic value. They're either using them because they haven't transferred. There's a guy that runs a bicycle shop near me. He won't even take card payments.
Right.
And I told him when I met him, he's like, I don't do cards, I don't do CDs, I do tape.
Right.
I went, well, you might want to look at that, dude, because in the next few years, you probably won't have cash.
But what I'm saying is there will be some people who will dig their heels in and not want to go with the flow. And there are some people who will be frightened of it. That's a different emotion. Like there are people who I meet all the time when life is normal who will not get online, even though everything that I see in my world points to, well, why do you not want to get online and be in today's world and get your news right now? Why are you using a very old phone? Okay, you can't afford a better one, but you're not even seeing the benefit of being online. They really, really will not change. And I lose patience with them because I think they're idiots. But they are still here and they are still alive and living in this world using that old stuff. So when you say this fiat way system is failing and we won't have cash anymore, yes, it blows my mind, but it also makes me think some people just won't do it.
Well, okay,
So there'll still be the old stuff.
Sorry,
I can't say it properly.
Just 1 second, Freddie. So I don't think in the next couple of years we won't have cash. Like I think that for the transition from cash to digital is happening. How fast a country chooses to do it, I would say realistically within 10 years.
Right.
I would find it strange that we wouldn't have cash. The people that will be dragging their heels, they'll just get used to they will still have cards, everything will still happen, there'll still be bank accounts, you'll still have Lloyds and Halifax and all these. You won't even notice a change. Like, you'll still spend money. Yeah, you won't suddenly look at your bank account and it'll go from pounds to Bitcoin. It doesn't. They'll still probably be pounds. It's the way in which it moves will change. You won't necessarily, you're not going to suddenly have to wake up and go, all the banks are closed down. If you haven't got a wallet, you've no money. That won't happen.
No.
No government, benevolent or malevolent, good or bad, wants mass chaos, because you can't control mass chaos. So everybody wants the whole transition to happen as simple as possible. I just want to bring it back to the whole point, which is that we're in a space, we're at the beginning of that transition, and there is, I suppose there's opportunity. There's a time to look and go, I think these coins in a few years will be heavily involved in property, contracts, finance. They might be involved in, there's lots of different things. And again, I don't want to go into them, but it's just this whole notion that things are going to shift. We're at the beginning of that shift, and there is an opportunity to just buy at whatever incredibly comfortable levels you want to buy at, and speculate that in 5 to 10 years they'll be worth a lot more than you paid for them.
Okay, so I can completely understand that and go with that, but in 10 years I'll be nearly 80 and
and the little I know you, Freddie, you'll still be alive and kicking.
Of course I will, but
I don't want to be the person on a call who says it could be worth a lot more in a year. Okay, but there are a lot of people who say it would. I
certainly get it, and I'm going to get myself a wallet of stuff and go on doing more research into this and definitely get into it for sure.
That's why I started with 3 or 4 quid, like just something that you're like, you know what?
Yeah, and what I will do is put my son onto it, because I don't think he's thought about it at all, and he's 35 and should be doing this now.
Yeah, I'm buying some for my nieces and nephews as well, and I'm going to put them on a little wallet, and a little hard wallet, and give it to them so that they can have it when they're old enough. I don't know. I've decided who decides when they're old enough, but the biggest thing is just overcome the fear. There's the media or whoever there's a lot of fear out there that Bitcoin is bad and all these things. Look, it's just technology. Is a car good or bad? Is a knife good or bad? It's just a car. It's just a knife. And it's just understanding that.
And prices of things fluctuate all the time. I just bought a Fire Stick for 30 quid. My son went to get one yesterday. It was 50 quid. This is what happens.
Well, crypto moves It moves a lot. And that's the big thing I wanted to make sure is that, like, as Christina said, are you making sure that people that are getting into crypto from these calls are just understanding things? And I do feel that I do that. And I definitely don't feel like I overhype something. But it's just really understanding that it moves a lot.
Daniel, I had a question. I remember in the last call, I don't know if you've spoken about it yet, around an exit strategy.
Okay, so was it Reese that Bradley that shared that document?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a similar document I was going to share. I've got it on a Google sheet. As far as an exit strategy goes, and I'll share the numbers I get out at, but I watched a couple of videos and who'd gone through the last cycle, the last big up and the last big down, and he said, be really clear to yourself when you calm the prices you're going to get out at, so that when it hits that price, you don't have a point where you have to think about it. You just know that that's the price you're getting out at. So that's all I've done, literally, to just look at things and just make a decision on what I'm comfortable getting out at.
That's a question.
The only thing I haven't done, and it's the most important, I haven't decided what my first value of XRP to get out at is. I don't know if I'm
Understating it.
I don't know if I'm comfortable holding until we reach $100. I don't know. Sometimes I am, but then I'm like, when it gets to $50, would I still not sell some?
And what is it now?
About 17 cents, 19 cents.
19
Really?
cents. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gone from like 30. I think I bought as low as like 12 a couple of weeks ago.
Well done.
Yeah, 13, 12, wasn't it, Richard?
Yeah.
I bought that.
My dollar cost average for it is about, I bought a lot at 27, 25. My dollar cost average, it's probably about now, maybe like 21 is my average for all of the coins that I've bought. Because I bought some at 30 cents, 27. I bought some at 14. So then if you imagine buying something, Alan, at 20 cents and it gets up to $50, so 50 divided by 0.2. That's 250 times return. So that is a 25,000% increase.
Wow. So if you put
you don't need to buy much to potentially make a lot. I think that's the thing. Some people are even saying it, it could go to beyond sort of three figures.
The numbers.
In what kind of time scale are you talking? Potentially, obviously, you're not a crystal ball.
I'll let Richard answer that.
I don't think anyone really wants to say, but if you follow people that are much more well informed than us, they seem to have cooled a little bit, I think, in the last week. They got very, very excited in the last week, but I think it seems to have cooled down a little bit. But I think, and that's why I'm so interested in what's going on with the rest of the finance system, because it'll really depend what happens there about how these get adopted by banks, individuals, companies, and all the rest of it. So we're definitely in relation to XRP and Ethereum, I think, in particular. But so it could be this. It could get. Some people are saying it could get to like, I think 100 or 200 this year, but I think that's potentially pushing it. But in terms of an exit strategy, Daniel, what would you exit to? That's what I'd say. What, you know what I mean? It's like, because I'd go, would I exit back into fiat, or would I just hold it longer? That's think kind of where I'm thinking at the moment. It's like, or spread into different coins.
I think I do what the latter is. The first of all is understanding the valued exit. So the more I've just been feeling into it now, I probably will definitely exit some, maybe just enough to get my investment back. Once we're above, I don't know, $20 to $50, something like that, I'll probably, because I only have to exit a little bit to get the money I first put in. Yeah. But then as soon as because the thing is, within the next 6 months, we'll know a lot more news. Within the next week, we could know a lot more news, and I really mean that. So I would exit at certain levels, and then what I would do, Richard, is it would depend on what the current affair is at that time. So, like, if in the next 6 months we suddenly found out that gold has been we've moved on to a gold standard, and this SDR currencies around the world is hedged to gold, then I'd be fairly confident moving my money into gold, as an example, because I know it's going to be stable. Because it has to be stable, because the whole world's currency is backed on it. There probably will still be digital versions of coins. There still has to be. People are still going to want cash. They're still going to want to spend stuff. So you might move to something like that. Because ultimately, the reason why people consider gold a store of value is because everyone wants to move their value from one value chain to another and store it. So if I was moving off, the whole industry will be different. So I think you'd make that decision at the time. If you could see in 6 months' time that Ethereum is being used by the whole finance sector, by everybody, you could move to Ethereum, some of it, because you hedge your bets quite well. Or you might just go and buy some property. I don't know. But I would probably say that property and gold will always remain good stores of value. Alternatively, you might move some of it to like the Binance coin, if Binance is still here. I think you'll make that decision of where you'll move it to when it comes to it. I think it'll be very clear. But I can imagine the stores of value that have been tried and tested for thousands of years will remain. And that'll be land, property, gold, and maybe a particular coin. I don't know. All depends, what happens. Does that make sense? Would you agree with that or think otherwise?
I think so. Yeah, I think if you wouldn't exit into fiat again, though, would you? Necessarily? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't move it in those. I think it's looking at you're trying to get a bit more sophisticated with how you're comfortable in terms of a split, in terms of where you're putting your money in investments and things. And I think the challenge with these sort of conversations, I think, particularly at the start, is you're looking at investing in something that you're hoping is going to go up in value. And that's where everyone starts with this, because everyone hears about Bitcoin millionaires and all the rest of it. But eventually it's going to move beyond that, where there's going to be much more mass adoption, where you'll just spend money in like you said, so you'll be spending money in the crypto space, and there'll just be this transition into it. So it'll move away from kind of investing in it in the same way as we are now. People will be doing this, but it won't be most people won't be doing what we're talking about doing here. It'll just be people will just be spending crypto, as they do cash now,
without thinking about it.
Yeah, but we're at a different point now where there's a store of value here, and we're investing in it, hoping it'll go up. But that will go away in terms of the mindset of people. It'll just be we're just going to spend money, but it's just a different place now, right? So I think that's the hard place when you're starting with all this. It's like, well, I'm investing in it, I'm hoping it's going to go up, but the reality is eventually we're just all going to be spending it, in micro transactions.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then this is why it's good to have these conversations, because this next week, this weekend, there's just a lot happening. There really is. And the thing is, I can't open up any of these boxes because they are rabbit holes. They really are rabbit holes. But one of the things that Richard said that I definitely second is find a couple of people on YouTube, follow them, listen to them. Now, all they're doing is aggregating their information, but it can be really good. Find someone there'll be hundreds of people that are explaining current affairs of crypto simply. And just start with them and find someone that talks the language that you're happy with. And because I could give you a lot of people, but you've got to listen. If you come in at it new, you've got to listen to quite a lot before it starts to connect the dots. So I'd say just start off somewhere simpler. Especially if you're just wanting to just understand it, so you can kind of get your head around what it is.
Are you able to give any of those simple recommendations of examples of who we can look at? Because I can only imagine this in terms of me going down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole for the last 13 years and trying to introduce that to, say, my parents and say, who would you look at? And
okay, so Alan, I'm going to give you a warning, right? If you spent 13 years already looking at conspiracy rabbit holes, be really careful in the crypto world, because I think it was born out of two rabbits having sex in Warren. I actually think that's where it started, and there is a lot. Your rabbit warrens go far and deep, especially the fact that the white rabbit's being used a lot now as an analogy in a lot of areas. But my point is, just understand crypto and blockchain. Spend less time in some of the more conspiracy realms, because you'll blow your head off, man. Blow your head off, it's bonkers. But I'm going to give you a couple of people that I remember that I've come across every now and again. One's called Crypto Dad. Find it. So if you just YouTube, Rex Neasley.
How do you spell Neasley?
I'm just going to get his, 1 second. So what you'll find as well is that they talk to each other in clusters, yeah? So, it's like little cliques, and you see the same names coming up. That's when you know you're in an echo chamber. So, and if you follow, we follow Kevin Cage, because I know that Richard and Alexander does, and he talks about certain names, and you end up just reaching more. So start with Crypto Dad, because he'll mention other people who are, you're the average of the 5 people you know the most. So he'll mention other people. Read the comments. I can definitely say read the comments, because they're very good at challenging whoever's speaking. The guy who's speaking, you'll be like, wow, this is brilliant. And you'll scroll down and someone will absolutely lambast and give a really good reason why he's talking bullshit.
So same as any truth-seeking.
Same as anything, yeah. But then they might share a link like, this guy's really good. And you can also just comment, right? Literally just comment on a video you like and go, hey guys, I'm new to this. Can anyone recommend me 3 or 4 people to follow? And I promise you'll get answers. And that's the easiest way, because the people that are watching that video that you like will have already done the work for you.
I definitely watch, I can't remember, probably the first video that I came in on, Daniel. I don't know if that's the first one he did or not, but in terms of, explaining XRP, which is one we're sort of talking about here in terms of worthwhile investment, potentially, and all the rest of it for the rest of you guys. But Daniel did a great job of explaining how it works, how the use case works, and it gives you a good foundation. Once you go and look at these people, Crypto Dad, Kevin Cage, whoever it is, you'll have a better understanding of what they're talking about, because they're going to be talking, as far as you're concerned, complete gobbledygook when you first listen to them, because you're not going to get it. Do you know what I mean? So, that first video was good from an insightful point of view. That it gave you a good basis to go away and understand what other people were talking about. So I recommend.
I've just put it in the chat. So if you take that, that's the playlist.
So where do I find? I've seen these flash up. Where will I find?
Are you on an iPad?
Yeah, I'm on an iPad.
Just click the screen.
Chat.
See,
I found it. Yeah, got it.
But to make it easy, just click that YouTube link. YouTube will open in the playlist, and just click.
Okay. Great.
Subscribe or whatever it is you do with the playlist. Freddie, have you found it as well?
No, I'm on an iPhone.
Yeah, that's okay. Can you see the chat section? Do you know what? It's cool, Freddie. I'll send you them in WhatsApp afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
And then you've got it. Yeah. So watch that first video that I did to get an idea of blockchain, and then just start, like I said, start with Crypto That, and just Google. You've got to allow yourself to self-explore. What do I want to learn? Do I actually want to learn what is blockchain and how it works? Or if you're not interested in it, don't spend too much time on it, because you'll just get bored. Find the stuff you are interested in, but just understand that it covers a lot of things. But definitely approach it all with curiosity and excitement in a way. There's real potentials in many ways, in many areas, to do a lot of transformation.
And what's the best course of action? Because obviously, You're saying this is a week when a lot of things are happening, and really I want to strike while the iron is hot. I don't want to fanny about and waste time and go for 13 years down a rabbit hole. I want to actually strike while the iron's hot.
Do you want to make it easy, or are you want to do a bit of work?
I'm actually feeling like I can trust people who've done a lot more work than me, because I think by the time I'm knowledgeable enough to make sound decisions, I think it'll probably be too late.
Okay, no, by a lot of work, what I mean is that to buy, the easiest way to buy crypto in the UK, as far as I'm aware, would be Coinbase. Anyone, Richard, you agree or disagree? Yeah?
Coinbase, definitely, yeah.
What's that called?
Coinbase.
Coinbase.
Yeah.
It's got an interface that it's like it's just easy to use. But literally within the next hour, you can have a Coinbase account, connect it to a card, and buy some crypto. The only downside with Coinbase is, in exchange for convenience, they charge you a little bit more fees than other people. But again, if you're in it for the long haul, as long as you're not moving it around, you just keep it in there. Honestly, like, they just charge you per transaction. So if you're in it for the long haul and it's there, then you're fine. So you could be up and running in the next hour on Coinbase. Okay, and who would be the sort of next down that maybe has lower fees? Would be either Binance or Bitstamp, but it's a bit more.
It's hard work.
Yeah, it's when you first open up Binance, your head blows off.
Yeah.
It's a trading platform.
Don't worry. I think if you're buying XRP at cents, don't worry about the higher fees, honestly.
And when you say higher fees, what kind of percentages or whatever?
Negligible, but you do reach a point where you're like, oh, I'm paying more than somewhere else here. It's just...
Don't worry about it, though. I really will.
Yeah. So it's negligible given the profits that you can potentially make.
If you're going to buy 10 Bitcoin, then I'd start worrying about it, but don't right now. It's like, if it's XRP and if it's the lower level coins, it's, like Daniel says, it's negligible. So.
The best thing to do, honestly, Alan, is to do it, and when you connect your card, just spend a tenner or a $5, spend whatever you want to spend. Do it, experience it. Yeah. Don't worry so much. That's what I did the first time. I just kind of just went ahead and just clicked buttons, and I thought, well, I'm willing. I'll just spend a $5, and then I did it, and just do that, and just actually do it. And level 2, once you've kind of done it, and I'll give you my address. You can send me an XRP. I'll send you one back. You can just experience what that's like, and just from doing that, you'll have grown a lot. And worry about level 2 when you've done level 1.
Right. So it's like a child going to the sweet shop with his pocket money for now, and then later on in life, we buy a car and a house and that
effectively. Kind of yeah. You just go in and you're going, I'll have some cola bottles, please.
Yeah.
That's effectively what you're doing.
And you mentioned XRP and Ethereum. You did say invest in 3 or 4, kind of hedge your bets. What would the 3rd and 4th ones be, in your humble, esteemed opinion?
I'll put them in the group, my list, and you can look at them, and you can see them fully. There's no point going through them here. They'll just be words to you. They make no sense. So
the group is a WhatsApp group, is that right?
Yeah. How did you get here?
I saw you put something on Facebook Messenger story, and that led me to your Facebook page, which then led me to the link. Am I not still allowed to be here?
Of course.
Have I hacked your system?
No, I forgot that I.
Yeah, you put it on Facebook Messenger story, which is what made me log into Facebook to find your page, because it had gone by then.
Alan, I've added you to the group. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
I'll post in the group what I've got, and if anyone else wants to, if you want to, Richard, just put even just the name of the coins. It can be useful. But honestly, for now, just go on there, spend a $5. If you can spend 15 quid, spend a $5 on the top 3 coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Just do it, and then it's done. Even that's growth. Just in that process there. Same for you, Freddie, as well.
Yeah, got it.
Don't worry about missing the boat. I think if you've got weeks to figure this out, that's still plenty of time. You know what I mean? It's not like it's gonna it's not that's going to go crazy in the next week and in the next couple of days.
And the one thing I've learned is I went through a period where I believed all the hype and that every day was like, oh my God, and I'd be up for hours every night. And then I realized one thing, every day it's like this. Every day, half the world says it's all going to go crazy and spike, and the other half of the world says it's going to tank. And depends on who you watch, depends on what you get. There will be a day when it will go up, but it will go, you know, every 24 hours it will go up a bit more. It's not the whole world tomorrow, everything's not going to go up 10,000%. But when we look back, we'll be like, oh, that's the point when it started to go up quite fast. But even that fast will still be, you know, it could take months to go up and up and up and up.
Some people are saying, even if you get, say, XRP, for example, even at 50 quid a coin, it'll still be worthwhile investment at that point. So people are still saying that, you know, so.
Cool. Okay. We're going to have to wrap it up there. I've got really itchy eyes. I need to go to bed. I hope that was useful. Richard, cheers for staying on the call, man, as well, and just for helping out there. It's all really useful. I just want to double check. Freddie, how do you feel about everything at the minute?
Very good.
Very good. Okay.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Cool. And Alan?
Yeah, I feel good about this. I'm a bit scared, but I'm very, very excited and optimistic as well, and a lot clearer than I was an hour or so ago. Thank you.
That's cool. I can understand that fully. I really can. And but it's like anything you've never done before, you can feel that. But honestly,
it sounds too good to be true, to be quite honest.
No.
That's my fear, but there's an optimism that it really is true, you know.
Daniel, your skill of explaining things is wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I wish I'd done that on the tech call I did the other day. I think I blew a lot of people's heads off. So I actually sent written apologies to them. So I'm sorry if I like explaining things simply, but I think I went OTT on that. Anyway, Richard, you all good with stuff, man?
Yeah, I just like being part of the conversation, you know, and I could just chat away about all sorts of stuff at the moment. I'm just happy to be involved, you know, and
nice one.
I'm still pretty new to it, so you know, it's happy just to be involved, like I say.
Nice one. I'm going to make them regular now. I think last week I just got a bit caught up with stuff because having a bit of regularity is good, and it allows us to just, like I said to you, Freddie and Alan, it is a coffee percolator. It just every day another layer comes off. You're like, okay, I get that, and it'll click one day. So don't try and understand everything today. Just know it's coming. Just know it's here.
I get that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alexander, you're all good, man. I know you missed the beginnings and stuff. Yeah. All good. Excellent. All right, guys. Well, listen. Thank you for another call. Really, really nice.
Thank you.
I'm going to send a diary invite out early. Well, that link again. So just book on, and we'll have another call same time next week. Probably a bit earlier. Probably 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Really,
Thank you, man.
really
Bye.
See you guys.
Well,